thirst trapping, and man shaming in this segment. What's up, Brave Arts community? This is Shon Hyneman here with another segment of A Scared to Remarry, wanting you to love fearlessly. Today, I have a special guest. I heard her on the Mental Dialogue podcast, and she killed it. Shout out to Montoya Smith. I've also had Chase and Yancey on here. Like I'm stealing all this past guests because the episodes be that good. So I had to follow her on social media because when she said her name, I was like, okay, let me find her because I got to stay in touch. And we're making this happen today. So I actually have her as a guest. She's a liberator of love. She's a cold craftswoman. She has a master's in motherhood. She's the co-host of the podcast, Your Spiritual Girlfriend with Latoya K. I love the way they talk about grown folk topics. It's amazing. One of the best podcasts I've heard in a while. Bravehearts community, let's show some love to Autumn Sonata. How are you doing, Autumn?
I am well. I am well. Thank you for having me, Shon.
Yes, not a problem. Not a problem. I don't want to waste any of your time. I want to jump into this because I know we're going to have a lot to discuss in this session.
Ooh. Let's get into it. I got a lot to say. So, yeah, let's go.
For sure. What was little Autumn like growing up?
Oh, little Autumn was very, very reserved. I grew up as a military brat, so moved around quite a bit. And in that, I did not have much time to settle into friendships in that way. So I kept to myself quite a bit, and spent a lot of time with just being me. I was very shy, really, really shy. I was not the kid or the little girl who wanted to wear dresses. I did not wear my first pair of heels until I got into my senior year in high school. I did not wear my first dress to school until my senior year in high school. I was a straight tomboy, very observant, very reserved, and just a deep thinker. I always thought outside of the box. So I did not see things in black and white. Everything had an option, an alternative. And I was never the one to go through the wide gate. I always liked to peek around and go through the narrow gate. I was a bit of a rebel, to say the least. So if anybody asked or wanted me to do a thing or forced me or had an idea about me doing or being a certain way, I totally rebelled against it. So that's why I didn't play basketball. That's why I didn't model. I went into tech early on, tinkering around with computers, because again, I kept to myself. And that's what like nurtured my love for tech. It was just trying to figure out the intricacies of software and hardware and making everything work. So that is also what nurtured my love for music. I spent more time with music than I did with people. So yeah, that's a little bit about little awkward Autumn.
So I'm assuming people wanted you to play basketball and they wanted you to model.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. I said absolutely not.
Because I see on your Facebook, I see you in the gym, like you getting it in. I'm like, Autumn don't play.
Yeah, I love staying in shape. I love being active. I'm a very active person. I like being outside. I like connecting with people now. I grew out of, well, backing up, I think the reason why I was so reserved and to myself back then is because I did not know how to be myself. I did not have permission to be authentically myself. And I knew that I was a bit different in how I showed up to the world and my thought processes and how I viewed circumstances. But I did not know how to make that acceptable to everybody else. So there was a fear factor with connecting with people and fear of being rejected or humiliated. But as I grew, and it was through marriage that I grew, then I decided that bump them people. I'm going to be who I want to be, and I'll show up how I want to show up, blue hair and all. And you can decide if you like it or not, but either way, it's not my problem. So yeah, through that, I fell in love with people. Now I love connecting with people. I love being out and just enjoying others, spaces and things like that. But at the same time, I am still very much a loner when it comes to recharging and just, I enjoyed myself. So yeah, still some of that there.
Mm-hmm. So where did you like your independence? Because I know you are, and I hate to say a strong woman, but for you to be able to stand on your own, like where did that at a younger age, like where did you get that resilience from?
From If I could give credit to any one thing,
Mm-hmm.
it would probably be because I grew up as a military brat, and
Mm-hmm.
often my parents weren't home. I'm the oldest of three, and my two siblings are boys. And oftentimes it was left up to me to cook dinner or to
Mm-hmm.
make sure they got their work done or whatever the case may be. So I always had a leadership type position in my family. In the industry that I'm in, there's not many Black women there. So the tech industry is one that you have to either show up or ship off. Um, and in my role as a mother, um, I have four boys and one girl. So a lot of growing through that experience, I exercise a lot of masculine energy raising four boys. And I'm not doing it alone by any stretch of the imagination. I do have a wonderful co-parenting relationship with their fathers, but doing that in the house with four boys and having to switch in and out of feminine and masculine simultaneously at a moment's notice, depending on who I'm dealing with at the time, it has permitted me the privilege of learning how to love myself and spending time alone. Mommy time is my me time. And often with a mother's schedule, you can't call somebody up and say, hey, I want to hang out right now. Because it happens at a moment's notice. You get the time when you can find it. And so you really learn how to sit with yourself. And that can sometimes be hard. And sometimes that can be hurtful, sitting with yourself and having to deal with some of the stuff that you were able to hide when you're out in the public, or masking it with dining out or being at parties or just connecting with someone else. When you have that me time, sometimes that's healing time. And so all those experiences shaped who I am and shaped my ability to love myself more. So I'm definitely grateful for it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. You've been through a divorce, and how did you get through that? And what is one piece of advice you would give to someone who is going through a divorce?
Get therapy. That, listen, that is my number one piece of advice to anybody going through any type of grievance, whether it be through a loss of a loved one, a loss of a relationship, like divorce or a breakup, anything of that sort. Because if it hurts, that is where you dig in. Wherever the pain is focused on, that is where you dig in, because that's where the healing has to be. And I think that oftentimes when we are in the midst of a struggle, like a divorce or a loss or any type of grief, we can't see what we need. We only know what we want. And we need somebody or something to help us identify the root cause of that pain. Oftentimes it's not even the person. So going through a divorce, I had the privilege to go through therapy. There were sessions with just me and the therapist, and there were sessions with my, then husband. And actually, the funny thing about it is that us going through that therapy led me to file the papers. So in therapy, naturally he assumed that we were getting better, that this would bring us closer and this would resolve our issues. In therapy is where I found out who I was and why I got into the marriage and what I needed and what I wanted. So the exit started, that door started to open as I progressed through therapy and learned about those things. So yeah, my number one advice is definitely get therapy, figure out who you are, and that way you can heal.
Yeah, because therapy I think, is something that has really helped transform me in my personal life. And even with me, because I remarried, and there was a lot of stuff I had to learn about myself.
Yes.
just in that process. And sometimes it can be messy and stuff that you had to deal with. And you just like, I ain't even know that was there.
Right, right, right. Yeah, a lot of stuff comes up when
Mm-hmm.
you have someone else looking from the outside in, because
Yeah.
all they see is it's what's obvious. And when we don't take the time to sit with ourselves, all we see is what we want, and what in our perspective is totally clouded. So someone else coming in with a fresh view is definitely refreshing. So
Yes, for sure. What made you come up with the topic man shaming for your podcast? And give me your definition of man shaming.
oh gosh. So the title actually, my co-host Latoya K, shout out to Latoya, your spiritual girlfriend podcast.
Shout out to Latoya.
She came up with the title after listening to the episode. I touched on man shaming in the episode and talked about it quite a bit. And I guess she figured that would be an amazing title. So yeah, she came up with the title actually.
That's what's up.
So my definition.
Yeah, give me your definition.
Oh, I don't know if I really have a concrete definition, but in my mind, man shaming is shaming a man for being who he is, acting in his natural way of being or doing things. On the episode, and there's so many different avenues to this, but on the episode, I was speaking specifically to how some women shame men for just being their natural selves. Like we kind of parade ourselves. We love attention. Women do. We love attention. And man shaming, to me, in one sense, is when you talk badly or dismiss a man for giving you the attention that you're seeking. And for me, that speaks to the woman's behavior or lack of moral compass or what have you. If you put it out there and you dangle the meat and an animal bites or grabs for it, where's the shame in that? So I see a lot of that on social media. Yeah. And it almost says to me that the woman is an attention seeker, which we all, like attention, but it's almost for credit or clout. So you want to be able to, require or request that attention in whatever way, but you want the privilege to deny it or reject it. And that's an insecurity or a flaw, if you ask me, when it comes to that mindset. So yeah, man shaming. Like I said, there's so many different ways that men are shamed, and I advocate highly or heavily for men because I see it every day, and I'm raising 4 boys, and just thinking about some of the behaviors and reactions that they get for just being themselves. It's almost disheartening to know that my boys, they'll face that at some point. Innocently showing attraction towards a woman or showing emotion will at some point be rejected, and someone will try to convince them that that's a weakness. So I think man shaming is just something that is rooted in insecurity, and actually it speaks more to the person doing the shaming than it does about the person being shamed. So when I see it, I shake my head. If I know the person, I correct them. But for the most part, we got a lot of work to do when it comes to understanding one another. So yeah.
See, and that's the thing, because I like what you said. Like, this is just this natural reaction that men give, right? Just straight up, and some guys are a little more, I won't say strategic, but more of I don't know, classier. I don't know how they, their approach. Some guys, they just slide in the DM and send, nudes or whatever and all this other stuff. But it's like, it's okay for you to turn that person away and not like so much of putting them on blast on social media, right?
Yeah.
Because I see that a lot with people. Oh, look what I got in my DM or all this other stuff.
Right. I've done it before. I had a thing where I called Donkey of the Day. It originated from Charlamagne the God, the Breakfast Club. And and it lasted for like 2 weeks, but
Mhm.
I was in this space where like, I'm sick of this.
Yeah.
Y'all sending me pictures in my DM. I ain't asked for that. Someone put you on blast right here in front of everybody. Totally inappropriate. Totally inappropriate. And it's not to say that I should have been grateful for that attention, but I did not have to expose them. It's as simple as ignoring it. Block, delete, whatever, to whatever extent that, that response was. It's just as simple to ignore it, because you're going to get that. You can't filter out the type of people who will respond to you when you put out something in the public. You put your face, your picture, your whatever you put out there in the public, it's open for everybody to criticize and respond to. And we need to understand that. We can't sift through the whole, the whole population of Facebook and ask that only this class of man or this, sexual identity of person respond to us, because there's women who out there who like you, and there are men out there who like you. So you can't filter out those responses. And understanding that will lead us to better handle those situations. Because again, it doesn't speak to the person who's doing it per se. They're doing what they know and what has worked for them. It speaks to you and how you handle the situation. So yeah, I had to check myself and realize that, okay, now we're not doing that. We're not shaming people for doing what they know how to do and what they want to do. So
Wow.
yeah.
That's grown. That's just grown woman talk right there.
Sometimes.
Because I was gonna say, because I find this topic very interesting, and I'm glad that we can have this open dialogue, because I feel like when men and women, when we converse, we're always at each other's neck, opposed to what can we do together to kind of make this more of a harmonious thing where we can really work together and filter through the BS. And hopefully we can meet that man or woman one day without all the games or without all the picking and choosing, the way you want things, because somebody can send you something. I think you talked about this on the podcast where you said that women pick and choose. Like there can be 3 or 4 guys in your DM send you the same thing, but you get to pick and choose. Maybe if this guy's more attractive or something like that, or I like him, so I'll pick him out of the other 3 guys because this is kind of what I like.
Right. Yeah. And
I'm just
attraction
paraphrasing.
but attraction is different for everybody. On another show that I was on, the fellas mentioned something called the Idris Elba effect, where if he looks a certain way, his behaviors become acceptable versus someone who doesn't come off as attractive to you, their behavior being offensive. And to a certain extent, that's true when you're moving in a space with expectations. So on the dating scene, if you're out there objectifying men for relationship or marriage or money or whatever the case may be to provide for you, then you're only going to give attention to those and give favor to those who look like they can do that for you, as opposed to the men who don't physically, appeal to you. You won't see past their appearance to what they're actually offering or willing to do or want to do. And the same goes on social media. When we interact with people, we tend to look at their physical and whatever's attractive to you, of course, and give permission or give them a pass on certain behaviors. So you can put a picture on social media on Facebook and you get 2, beautifuls or whatever compliments from guys who are not as attractive to you. And you're like, okay, yeah, thanks. But you get that one like from a guy that you're really attracted to and you're all out the water. Like you done lost your mind. Like he's the one. No, he just liked your picture. That's it. So we tend to over fantasize and again objectify men based on what we want and not the reality of things. So my thing now is go into dating or any other connection with no expectations. Go into it showing up as your full self. And there was one quote that I read somewhere where it said, be yourself so that the ones who are looking for you can find you.
Yes.
That's it. That's the giddy. That's the trick. Be yourself. And then those who are in alignment with you will show up. You don't have to put all that work and that effort into trying to look a certain way or do a certain thing or be, a certain fit into a certain box. But if you show up as yourself, no matter how acceptable that is to society, the ones that are meant for you will show up.
I love that. I put out on Twitter the other day, I think it was yesterday. I said, I don't make six figures. I don't look like Michael B. Jordan, and I'm not 6'3", but I still landed the baddest chick in the game.
I know that's right. I know that's right. And that's it.
And that's because I showed up as my true, authentic self. When I met my wife, I told her these were some areas that I struggled in. This is the reason why we went through divorce. I played my part, and she played hers as well. But I let her know up front, like, these are some things I'm trying to work through, and am currently working through. And one reason she said that she really fell in love with me was because I owned my part.
Yes.
And where I went wrong.
Yes. Accountability is major.
And it's a lost word.
Yeah. Yeah. People are ashamed for that as well.
But your accountability shaming.
Yeah. See, is that a thing? It is now. People do it. And I was telling my daughter this this morning, actually. I asked her, I said, what are 3 things that you love about yourself? What are 3 personality traits that you love about yourself? So I explained to her what a personality trait is. And she said, I am kind. She said, I am goofy. And she said, I am giving. And she's 10. So I was amazed at her, because she is all those things times 10. Like, she is extreme of those things.
Yeah.
And she shows up in this world exactly how she wants to. There are no filters. There are no, apologies for how she is. She is a very loving and open person. She is very giving, and she is the silliest little girl.
Yeah.
And she doesn't apologize for that. And so I said, as long as you know who you are, people will try to change you. And I say, you have to be careful and cognizant of who you let around you. There are people who are meant to be your patient, who you're there to help. And there are people who are meant to be your partner, who are there to assist and guide you in your life. I said, be careful, though, because there will be people who will try to connect with you and get close to you so they can dim your light, because they don't believe that you're this authentic. Wow. So I said, just be careful of that. And she's very much the type of girl, like I am, who, if she's told she's wrong and she knows she's wrong, she'll own up to it. Okay, I was wrong. I apologize. So I was explaining to her as well, is that, people will try to tell you that you're wrong just so they can be right. So it's important for you to know who you are so that you won't get trapped like that. So yeah.
And how old is she?
She's 10. She's 10.
Those some powerful tools.
Yeah, that's my baby.
Yeah.
All my kids are like that. We have interesting talks.
Well, that's what's up. That's good, because they take these tools into adulthood, and they will avoid so many traps from people.
Yeah.
Because people will try to throw their own junk on you.
Yes. Yeah. And everybody has their stuff that they came up with through childhood. So I want to make sure that my kids are prepared and that their baggage is as light as possible going into this journey. So
Erykah Badu said, pack light.
Listen, that woman there, she was in town a week ago or so, DJing, and she had a concert. And I just wanted to be in the space of that level of wisdom. I couldn't make it, but I was just like, you know what? That chick right there, she is like my my spirit guide. She's an ancestor living right here on earth. So I'm telling you, I love me some Erykah Badu.
That's for real. That's for real. In your mind, why do men keep falling for thirst traps from women, knowing that there is a higher probability that they will be shamed? Just in your opinion.
In my opinion, it's for the immediate reward. I think this is just my opinion.
Yes.
And I I equate some of that to how my boys respond to consequence and to doing things. If I tell my oldest son, well, not my oldest, my second oldest, clean up your room or I'm going to take this game. And he knows I'm about to leave and go somewhere. He has a couple of hours or whatever to himself. He's going to play the game first because that offers immediate reward and totally forget about the consequence of not doing what I asked him to do. I think for some men, they're very carnal in their approach to women. And so that immediate reward is getting the response from her, whether it be a like, a heart, or a thank you. It's getting the response, not thinking about later, she's probably going to shame you for, reacting to what she put out there. Mm-hmm. And so one of the co-hosts of the other show I was on told me that most men only need something to work one time before they repeat it many times. And they'll look for that one yes every single time until they get it again. So I think that a lot of times with men falling for that trap, it's a knee-jerk response to them getting what they wanted or expected from that one time. So they're just chasing that favor over and over again.
That automatic stimulation. They just want it to just, don't even think about what's coming later.
Right. Just eating, not thinking that you got to drink, you got to hydrate.
Right.
Keep consuming this stuff. Yeah. So.
When I talk to guys, I try to talk to them about that whole instant gratification thing. And we all, I get it. I especially with the younger guys, because look, I'm in my 40s. I done been around the block before. So you can't set me up for the okie doke that easy. Right. I don't care how fine you are.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm not trying to sacrifice anything I got at home for what's on Instagram. It ain't.
Exactly. The traps are out there for men and women.
Yeah.
It's sad, but I think you have to go through some things. You have to, experience some of those rejections and some of those consequences in order to learn your lesson and know how to move in this atmosphere. Because it's a different time now. Totally different time.
It is, yeah. When we were growing up, I mean, we had to deal with, and I guess I'm telling my age, but we had to deal with rejection. We walked up to a girl, and I mean, we shaking, we scared, we nervous. It's either yes or no.
Yeah. Well, the same thing with women. Now there's so many insecurities hidden behind these filters that we don't have to show up as our authentic self. And a part of that is creativity. I know women who use filters and who use different things because that's part of their creative expression. But showing up as their real selves, they have no problem with posting a picture without makeup or wherever. But a lot of women and girls in this generation, they don't have that courage. Like if you walked up to a woman, somewhere out in the public, you saw me as I was. Yep. You probably saw me at a most awkward moment, not expecting attention, probably, in whatever. And you found me attractive enough to approach me. And you didn't have a chance to go run home and get dolled up and try to make this first impression. It is what it is. And that person was seeing you for who you are. So that courage coming into this atmosphere is like, okay, I get to mix a little of that, creativity with this raw courage, and this is who you get. So when I had a couple of guys in this group on Facebook that I'm in, I posted my picture, unedited. And the guy responded and said, y'all gonna learn one day. And I said, well, what do you mean by that? So another guy immediately responded, like, no, she's real. I looked at her page, she's real. And I was like, my God, y'all really think this is a fake page? Like you think that, and a part of me was offended and another part of me was flattered. Yeah. Like, I look that good, you think I'm not real? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So they asked me to record a live to prove that I am a real person. And I did it. I was like, you know what? This is interesting to me. So I did it. And before I did it, it was like, if she does this, talking to me as if I'm not involved in a direct thread, if she does this, I'm going to cash up her $20 for lunch. I'm just sitting here watching them go back and forth with one another about how fake a lot of these pages are and how, they're in disbelief that I could be a real person or that my page was actually mine. So I recorded the live. It was real short. I'm in my glasses, hair in a bun, doing work. And they came back and said, she's real. Like it was unbelievable. I couldn't make this shit up. So they were so excited. I was sitting back like, where's my $20?
I know,
Like,
right?
bring me my lunch money because this is unbelievable to me. It didn't go down. The $20 never came. But I was just really just taken aback that, wow, this is how these dating streets and this social media world really has people thinking. So yeah, it was interesting. Definitely interesting.
Yeah, because you'll have a lot of guys who might be socially awkward. It's just that much easier to slide in a DM than to actually see somebody at your job or you know. There's a guy I worked with, and he tried to talk to this girl, but he was so scared. So he worked with her, but he approached her through social media.
Oh wow.
That's how
Wow.
crazy it is. He sent her a friend request. He you know, in passing, I guess he just kind of talked to her, but he's wanted to connect with her on social media just so he can talk to her through the DM. And I'm thinking, you halfway there. You already asked for her social
Right.
media handle. You halfway there.
Oh my gosh.
That's how bad
I
it
feel
is.
like in the dating scene, the face to face is so important. So I have to experience your actual spirit and your body language and your tone and your, you know, how you respond to certain questions. Social media is just the backdrop. That's just for content. That's just how you decided you want to show up to the world behind a computer. That's who you want to be. Social media is who you want to be. Who you show up in, you know, as is who you are. So I need to see both of those. It's crazy because I've experienced so many people in my DMs, like you could tell they're afraid to say anything more than hello. And I'm a bit of a jerk when it comes to this. I purposely will sit there and just say hello, give you a short return, a short reply, and will not engage further and just sit there and wait for you to just to man up and say something else. But on the flip side of that, I understand that a lot of men have been shamed in that approach. So now they wait for the woman to invite them to do more. And even then, in some connections, they won't move forward. So there's a lot of fear in being rejected still, even behind computers. So yeah, it's a tricky thing.
Wow. I mean, I know I'm guilty of sliding in the DM, but I took my shot with my wife and I scored. So
Yeah, you absolutely did.
yeah, right. I scored, but that's because she lived in a different state.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she lived in
So
a different state.
was that part of the? Did you gain courage from knowing that she wasn't easily accessible?
Yes, I think it actually helped our relationship because she
Okay.
was so far away from me.
Okay.
If that makes sense. It was one of those things where like I want her, but I can't have her kind of thing because she's not here in the same state.
So did that give you like discipline because you could not?
Yeah, it made it almost more of a challenge.
Challenge. Yes.
Yeah, you know, because and me and her, we agreed to this day that I don't know if our relationship would have worked if we were in the same state. If I was like just down the street from her or an hour away, you know, and that's not to discourage anyone because everybody's
Right.
situation is different.
Right.
But I think it added that much more because it forced me to know her. It wasn't a quick physical thing
Okay. Good.
because
Okay.
I didn't get to meet her until almost 2 months after we initially talked. I didn't meet
Nice.
her physically
Mhm.
until almost 2 months later.
Yeah.
So it really forced us to know each other, opposed to us just jumping in the bed and be like, oh, you know, that whole kind of thing. And no shame to people who do that. But I'm just saying that's what just worked for us.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you said, I think it differs based on the person, their personality, their history, and
Mm.
their needs and wants. For me, I tried the long distance thing with someone just a state away in Alabama, and it was not good for me. Couldn't do it. I was like, listen, shoot, you however many miles away,
Mm.
and I can't get to you, or you can't get to me and give me a hug. A love language has a lot to do with it. I'm
Okay.
my primary love language is touch
Okay.
and quality time. So those
Mm.
things, it can look different for everybody, but with touch being my primary, and it didn't have to be sexual or anything like that, but just
Right.
a simple, touch. I'm a big hugger, so long distance was never, that was the first time and that was the last time.
Yeah. Yeah. Those didn't work in your favor with your love languages, right?
No, exactly. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was a definite. It's like, I tried, God, but you already know who I am. You know my heart. You're gonna have to be right here in Georgia. Sorry.
You know my heart, Lord.
Right.
Uh, does pretty girl privilege stunts a woman maturity because she can fall back on her looks when things don't go her way?
Ooh, wait a minute.
Or do you want me to give you an example, or are you just kind of pondering? Because I do believe pretty girl privilege is real.
It is. It is definitely real. Um, I think it can stagnate your growth if you're not properly equipped to handle that responsibility or that privilege
Mm,
and recognize it. It can be hard to recognize that favor when you're immature.
mm,
Um, I get privileges just because I'm fair skinned. I get
mm,
privileges because I'm tall and that I'm
mm,
slim. I get privileges because I am an outgoing person. Um, it's definitely real. I get privileges, of course, because I'm a beautiful woman.
mm-hmm,
And I also get privileges because I'm a smart woman.
mm,
But I recognize those privileges and I decide then if I want to take advantage of it or not.
mm,
I understand that everybody doesn't have that. But for me, like I said, depending on where you are in your journey, how much you've matured and your ability to recognize those favors, that determines whether it stunts your growth or if it helps and aid, your growth.
mm.
If you can't see it, then you can't you don't know how to move with it.
Yeah. Mm,
I think immature girls, they definitely, if they're aware of it, they definitely use it to their advantage to manipulate others,
mm-hmm.
and that definitely stagnates their growth spiritually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I couldn't wait to ask you that question because I've seen it in
Mhm.
action. Um, and I wasn't trying to burst anybody's bubble or anything, but I'm like, look,
It's a real thing.
yeah, there's going to be you're not going to be 21 forever. One day
Yeah.
you're going to be 35 and playing on your privileges, or you in your 40s, or you in your 50s. Like, you have to have some form of substance. And now, and I know, because I know people gonna probably try to hit me in the DM, like not in the DM, but in the comment section. But what about men? We're not talking about men today. If you want me to talk about men, I got 100 other videos. I done talked about men. Like
Right.
97% of the people who watch my videos are men. So go watch that video. We talking about women today.
Right. Right.
So I just had to say that. So I do think it's real, because when you work on yourself, you got that substance to draw from that,
Mm-hmm.
and it makes you even that much more attractive
Mm-hmm.
because
Now
you've done the work. Mm-hmm.
I will say, um, pretty girl privilege can be mislabeled as that when it is actually our birthright or our what's the word I'm looking for? Something that is owed to us.
Mm.
So respect,
Yeah.
boundaries, chivalry, provision, protection, security. Those things a grown woman deserves. So those things that are deserving of us versus the things that some guys will label as a privilege or what's the word I'm looking for? Or something that we don't deserve or what have you.
Yeah.
As a woman, and this is again, as you grow, you learn to identify those things. No, you don't have to respect me because I want you to. You have to respect me because I deserve that. And I'm grown and I know what that looks like. you have to respect my boundaries because they're mine. And I've actually demonstrated to you that I respect my own boundaries. And so, you know, a lot of those privileges or a lot of those stereotypes that are placed on Black women, there are people who want to interchange that with privilege and obligation, if I may say. You have to respect me. Like, you have to honor my boundaries, and you have to show up as a masculine man around me, because I am demonstrating those things, the opposite, or feminine energy, and I am demonstrating respect and honor towards you. And some guys may look at that as what is the word I'm looking for?
As
not a responsibility, but not a privilege.
Well, I think all women are owed respect. I want to say that.
Yeah.
Every woman, and beauty is an eye of the beholder, right?
It is. It is. But I feel like when men say that all women deserve respect, it kind of cripples the immature woman that to believe that she doesn't have to give it first.
Very true. Awesome point.
You know, it almost band-aids the fact that you have to show up in the same way that you want to be, you know, given to or received. And this is why a lot of women are out here just acting entitled.
That's my point. Yeah.
Obnoxious, because someone along the way, most of the time it's a father or a broken mother, who said, you don't have to do this. You don't have to show up in this way. You deserve it just because you were born a female. Not so. You're a human, just like this other person is a human. Everybody deserves respect, but you get what you give. And so you have to be very careful about putting those entitlements out there, because people take it to heart and live through it.
Yeah, because when you don't do the necessary work, the maturity and the growth, if everything is just handed to you, you can carry that with you throughout your life. You know, you could just do the sad puppy dog face, and he just gives you whatever you want, and it doesn't allow you to do the hard work that it takes for us to grow and mature and to be and to look outside of ourselves and to think about that other person. Very few, I won't say very few people, but to look outside of yourself takes work. To be considerate of someone else and their feelings, especially somebody that you say that you love. You have to look outside of yourself, and it might be uncomfortable, because one thing that I've learned over time is, because a lot of times we try to change people, and you can't change people. Like, they have to want to change for themselves. And then on top of that, some people want to try to change you just so they can be comfortable.
Oh yeah. You know, they try to put you into their mold because it's comfortable there.
Yeah.
A lot of times when we go into relationships with that expectation, you know, I know I've seen all these red flags. I know he doesn't really tend to his children. I know he doesn't really show stability in any area of his life. But if I get in there, then I can influence him to be better. Influence and change different things. We can influence anybody. Our intuition, our influence is strong. And I think that's something we have to be aware of when entering any connection. But to go in with the expectation that we're going to change, we can't plant a seed into anybody. We can nurture seeds, we can water those seeds, but that seed has to already be there. So we can influence its growth, but we can't plant it. And I think a lot of times we go into relationships trying to we fantasize over the potential of a person as opposed to the reality of that person. So yeah, it's something to be said about that.
Yeah, I just had a lady on. She's the host of Moms and Martinis podcast, and that was our topic. The topic was, do women feel that they can change men in relationships? That was the whole topic. So yeah, we just talked about that.
Oftentimes. I know I was listening to an influencer on a show, and she said that a feminine woman should want to be a princess and not a queen.
Break that down.
No. Because a princess needs to be provided for. She needs to be made secure. She needs protection and all these different provisions from the king.
Yes.
And when the princess gets hurt, the king, his auto response is to rescue her or to go see about her.
Yes.
And aid her, back up. Never to grow her into a queen, but to keep her as a princess. Now, this I just did not agree with, and I think it's a very dangerous message to send to women who are struggling in that feminine journey.
Mm-hmm.
While a princess, yes, is one that a king or a father may jump to, their aid and their rescue, the respect and adoration for a queen is not what you give to a princess.
Mm.
Like you can help raise a princess, you can be there for them and want to cuddle them and nurture them and protect them all their lives, but you will never, a king would and should not never have the same level of respect and adoration and regard for in the way of partnership and love that he does for a queen. A queen demands respect, and that respect shows up in whether there's a disagreement or a discord, you sit to work it out. A king can look at a princess and say, it's my way or the highway. I'm in control. I am the authoritative, and I know what's best, and this is what you better do. They can control a princess.
Mm.
The attitudes and the fits get old, because when a king knows he has authority, he knows that he can say no, and that'll be it. Yeah. With a queen, you know that we have to compromise. We have to work through some stuff. And there's a certain level of obligation with the queen to sit down and be honest with yourself, because you can't rule me. You can work with me. And through that, it makes him a better king. A princess can't make a king a better king. A princess can only take from you and feel entitled and obligated to receive from you, but a princess can't give you anything. A queen nurtures you and makes you a better king. So yeah, I don't agree with that whole notion, but a lot of people will take to that and say, yeah, I want to be a princess. I want to be spoiled. I want you to give me $40 anytime. $40? How is it? Girl.
Dude didn't even give you your $20.
Yeah, right. And a princess would have threw a fit. Y'all whack because you didn't do this and you lied and you a clown. The queen's like, I already knew that. I already knew this is how you viewed women. If you thought women were faking here, what do I expect from you? This is who you show up as. This is who I know you are. And it's okay. So, yeah.
Real queen talk.
Thank you.
Do women hold other women accountable? And if not, why?
Women, yes.
Okay.
Women hold other women accountable. I hold my friends accountable for bad behavior. I praise them for good behavior. I am my friend's biggest hype woman.
Yeah.
Because I know that we need that. We need words. We need to be told that we are beautiful. We need to be told that we are killing it. We need to be told that we are intelligent and that we are not less than. And while they get that from their husbands and their boyfriends or what have you, I want to make sure that I show up to tell them the truth, because all of us need that. And even when it comes to bad behavior, you are not doing your friend any justice by lying to them and allowing them to continue in that way. That is only contributing to their detriment and showing them that, once they grow into a queen in that mindset, they'll look back on your behavior and say, you weren't really honest with me. Like you were not really my friend because you didn't hold me accountable for my bad behavior. We know when we're messing up. We know when we're acting out of sorts. And for someone to cheerlead that bad behavior is showing you that they're not really for you. They may be your Caesar and your enemy because they're contributing and pushing you forward towards negativity and your whole, demise. So women, yes, we hold each other accountable. And we tell each other straightforward, raw, that was messed up. And I've lost a friend. I've lost somebody as a friend for doing that. And for the life of me, for a long time, I couldn't figure out, like, why was that so bad?
Yeah.
Like, why did it hurt? Why did it cause the demise of our friendship by me telling her the truth about bad behavior? Because I was in connection with a girl. A woman would have took that and said, okay, yeah, that's terrible. I need not do that anymore.
Wow.
And that was a realization I had to come up with. Not saying that I'm always right, but I know when I'm being honest and earnest, and that when the advice that I'm giving is to help you, and it's obvious that it's to help you, versus one that is not, not well intended. So
I love that answer.
Yeah.
Like you said, women, other women, accountable women. I'm glad you emphasized that.
Yeah, major difference. The princess and the queen. Princess would just like to play.
Oh, come on now. I have one more question before I let you go, because this has been an amazing, just so much wisdom and knowledge in this. I love this. This is why I invited you on the show.
Thank you.
What can we do to promote more healthy relationships? Whether that's through social media, or do you think healthy relationships get enough exposure, or do you feel like we're more drawn to drama, and because that stuff always sells?
Oh yeah. Of course the negativity, it overshadows the positivity. It's all in technology with the algorithm. Everything is self-centered. So the algorithm sees world events or world news or anything that's trending over other platforms, and those trigger words or coding or what have you, picks up on that on social media. It's going to keep recycling that type of data, those keywords. So all you'll see is the negativity. The healthy relationships are out there. They're just not as loud. So I appreciate when people are unapologetically like just public about their relationships. We need that. We need to beat the algorithm, stomp the algorithm with positivity. The way that we can promote that is by doing just that. Anything positive. I don't care if it's a good morning post. It's positive. You woke up. It's a real thing. You're here. Promote it. Show somebody else gratitude that you're happy to wake up, and maybe you can influence them to be happy to wake up, because everybody ain't happy. And so people need reasons to be positive, unfortunately, but we can help that by giving them those reasons. They may seem minute to us, but that can help save somebody's life. Other ways to help promote it: sit with yourself, like be honest and open about your stuff. Then people can find the permission to be honest with themselves. A lot of times we don't hold ourselves accountable because we don't see other people doing it. So we don't know what that looks like. Don't know what steps to take to sit with our own mess. We don't know how to spend time alone because everybody's so accessible. Instead of being alone, we get on Facebook or social media and try to find some instant validation, instant gratification, as opposed to saying, I need something right now. And it ain't from other people. It's the root cause of why I'm so voided and unhealthy right now. We got to figure out what that is, as opposed to masking it with likes and hearts. And I'm about to go off in a tangent, but yeah, it's just,
we got to get them quick dopamine hits, huh?
Exactly. But what else could you do to get those dopamine hits? Maybe you're feeling unhealthy. Maybe you can go exercise to get those hits. Do something that's healthy for your mind and your body, because social media ain't it.
Come on now.
So it's different ways to look at things, and it's promoting those shifts in mindsets. Like me and Latoya talk about on the show, we call it the ficky. So we were talking about
I remember that
the shows, and I was like, how the DJ, when they scratch the record, they pivot the record. That's the ficky. So we have that inside. People are not ficky in their lives, and so I think if we show up and show them how to do that pivot, how to scratch their record, they can erase some of that. Well, not erase, but address some of that past trauma and move past it and grow from it.
I love that because I truly believe, and I said this before, I think one of the reasons I was able to land the wife that I have is because I was willing to do the messy work. I was willing to cross that, that do not cross that yellow tape when they have the homicides, and you gotta, I was willing to.
It's a crime scene.
Yeah, right. In my own personal life, Lord knows all the crime scenes I done had.
Very true.
So I was willing to do the work. And I believe that if I would have continued to blame on others, we probably would have just missed each other. We would have been two ships passing in the night because I wasn't ready to receive what could have been mine if I not been mature.
Yeah, that's good.
So
That's definitely good. Well, this has been amazing.
This has been amazing, Autumn. I want to be respectful of your time. Let the Brave Hearts community, let everyone know how they can find you across social media, because you have so, and the questions you ask on Facebook be off the chain. Like, they'd be awesome.
You like?
I'm just like,
I wake up and I'm just like, you know what? I want to say this, and I don't know who's going to receive it or how it's going to come across, but I'm going to say it. And some of my grammar be so terrible. It just, and I go back and I correct it, but at the same time, just like, post it, get it out. Somebody's going to receive it. If not, even that's fine. Maybe speaking to yourself, but post it anyway.
Post it anyway. Yeah. But
yeah.
How
social
can they find
media.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Lord. Okay, Instagram at I am Autumn Sonata, AutumnSonata. On Facebook, my Facebook name is Autumn Sonata. The podcast is Your Spiritual Girlfriend Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. Also on Apple, Spotify, Anchor, and YouTube, Your Spiritual Girlfriend Podcast. You can follow my co-host, Latoya K. She's at Latoya K on Facebook, and Latoya K MS on Instagram. So we out there.
Yeah, a shout out to your podcast. And so when is season 2 dropping? Because now you got me waiting.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're working on season 2 now.
Okay.
We're going to have some guests on this season. So we'll be recording some lives and also, of course, doing the audio only. Yeah, but season 2 is going to be dope. We're working on doing a launch party. That's how big it is. We've had so much feedback, and a lot of reviews hadn't even been posted. So I'm like, you guys are reaching out and telling us all these great things. Put it on the review so other people can see it. Yes. But when I tell you, I did not expect like the responses that we're getting. I'm just like, wow, people really needed to hear like 2 girlfriends just really, and this is just how we talk on a day-to-day basis. So she came up with the idea. She was like, why don't we just record this stuff? Why don't we just record it? And so we hit record, and that's all it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I left a review and I just said, it's a grown ass woman podcast. That's the only way I could have addressed it. Like, y'all are 2 grown women talking about real life. And I'm like, y'all experiences, the things that y'all like. Yeah, I love it. So
Thank you. Certainly appreciate that.
Yeah, so Brave Hearts community, you heard it here. Make sure you leave a rating and review. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast, Your Spiritual Girlfriend. Make sure you connect on all social media platforms that Autumn have just told you. Also, make sure that you stop by my podcast as well. If you're not watching this, you can listen to it as well. So make sure that you hit the subscribe button. Same thing here. You already know the process. Y'all know what's up. There are so many ways you can support us podcasters and YouTubers. Everything don't always have to be financial. You can leave a review. You can leave a rating. You can share all these different things. Let people know how the podcast is impacting you. Because people are out here giving their time and their experience. It's a wealth of knowledge that everyone is giving. So make sure you support those, especially Your Spiritual Girlfriend as well. This is Shon Hyneman here at It's Scary to Remarry, wanting you to love fearlessly. Take care, people.